everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude. I hope you can hear me. I've got a new co host. It's Monday and it's time for the first sip. Good morning, Aaron Jacobitz.
Good morning, the not so average dude. Happy Memorial Day. And like I said on Friday, the only thing better than a normal Friday is a Friday on a holiday weekend. And we are here with our extra day and fired up to be joining you, man. Let's go.
I love it. I see that you have on your golf hat. Does that mean that we may be hitting the links later today?
Yes, I actually, at my local club here at Fox Run in Simpsonville, I have an opportunity to participate in our Memorial Day tournament. So I will be at a shotgun start at 9 a.m. And so, yeah, but I'm getting my mind right and I'm getting on the bus. So when I get to hole number one, I'm ready.
Let's go. It doesn't matter what we're doing. It's a good idea to get in a good mood, to connect with people, to talk a little sales, talk a little life, to talk real human connection. Don't you think, Aaron?
Absolutely. When we can focus on that human connection, even in a world of technology, you and I have talked at length about AI, eyeball to eyeball, even if it's on a screen like this, it's so powerful and it's never going to not be powerful, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And another thing that's powerful, you're talking about playing golf, but I've been thinking more about playing golf. We've both been in sales for a long time. You mentioned AI and how much AI is going to be doing. Man, the golf course is a great place to get to know people, to get to know who they are, to get to know how they handle a bad shot, to really build real relationships. I think that it's fun, but it can also be a great business vehicle. What do you think?
Yeah, I tell people a lot, the golf a lot of times is secondary. That's just something that you're doing. But the relationships, the proximity, the conversation, and if you look at the span of my sales, marketing, business development career, I I would say 45 to 50% of some of the best relationships, whether it's a circle of influence, whether it's a direct customer, whether it's a referral source, whatever the case is, though that I would say probably 45 or 50% of the best ones that I have were come from originating on a golf course.
That says a lot. That says a lot. It's a great opportunity to get outside and do those sorts of things. And that's what we're looking for people to get outside of their normal kind of business mindset and
Yeah.
be a little more open for combo and connection.
Yep, I agree. Hey, so I got a question for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Something has just been on my mind for about 2 weeks. And you were talking about how good relationships, them originating on a golf course. My question for the average dude is this: when you look back at your career,
Yes.
what would you say the key things that you did or didn't do that created some of your most successful days that you've had?
Oh wow. I think that's a great question. I would say that something that I want to talk about more and more, Aaron, is what I didn't do early on and what I started doing later.
Mhm.
So the real story of the average dude is personal development. That's why I like talking about it so much, because we can have potential, and if that potential is untapped, that's not a good thing. And so all of the personal development, many of the things that Freddie and I talk about, getting to know yourself, keeping the promises you make to yourself, self-discipline, not chasing validation. All of these things were lessons that I learned through personal development.
Mm.
And I learned how to have effective days. And first sip is really the culmination of that. Sorry for this long answer, but it's something
No,
that
yeah,
I love talking about.
it's good.
It's really the reason that I wanted to do first sip is I know the importance of starting your day with the right mindset, with intentionality, right? No matter what it is, I'm going to get up, I'm going to shave, I'm going to put on a shirt, I'm going to put on something. We're going to do something. And so my good days are when I have a good morning and when I a good morning, then I'm doing the right things that evening to make sure I'm going to have a good morning.
Very good.
So I focus on winning the day. I focus on winning the day. What does it mean to win the day for you, Aaron, and in your career? What does a winning day feel like?
For me, I think the win happens. I call it the before 9 a.m. secret, right? And what can you do before 9 a.m. that can make the biggest difference?
Oh, I love that.
We talk about the first sip before anybody else finishes their first cup of coffee. What have I done? What can, with the things I can control, right? What have I completed that allows me to have the setup to be able to have the odds in my favor that I'm going to have a good day? And for me, real quick, if I could, I'll just hit those three things real quick.
Keep going.
So number one for me, it's define what I call your 3 MITs. So these are the most important tasks. So Daniel, if I only got these 3 things done, whether it's professional, whether it's on a Memorial Day, personally, whatever the case is, what are my 3 things that make the biggest difference in understanding what those are, and what I can control, the 3 MITs, most important tasks that I can control. Number 2 is, and this is something that I didn't learn till probably 3 or 4 years ago, is send one value-driven outreach. Not I'm trying to sell you something, not I'm trying to build the brand, not anything. With them, right? What's in it for me? Reach out to somebody before 9 a.m. with something of value, whether it's an article you read, whether it's an invite to an event, whether it's, hey, I really think you should jump on First Sip, because what the average dude and what Freddie are doing has made a world of difference in my setup for my day at 7:55 in the morning. So send something of value that's not value to you personally, but is only value to them. That's made a big difference. And really thinking about not what I have to do today, what do I get to do today?
There you go. Yeah.
Who do I get to help? Who do I get to serve, whatever lens that you're looking at it from? And then third, practice one micro skill. So spend 5 or 10 minutes with the intentionality of rehearsing something, role practicing, positive self-talk, something, a micro skill that you want to work on. Do that before 9 a.m. And when you compound those 3 things together, the chances of you having a successful, positive, and an amazing day really leans in your favor.
Absolutely. All of those things, and I might have to get you to go back to remind me of some of those, but three important things. So immediately there's a lot of different things going on in the world. There's a lot of customers to call. There's a lot of things to do. But I love that. Come up with 3 things so that we're focusing on 3 things and let our day kind of be driven by those 3 most important tasks.
And here's the secret. The secret is, before you check your inbox, before you check your text messages, don't let something that happens dictate. Come up with it with what you think are the 3 most important tasks for that day before you ever do anything else, and then stick with that, because you're going to get emails overnight, texts overnight, you're going to get requests, you're going to get all these things coming in, and it's very easy to get off what you think are the 3 most important tasks for that day. That's the secret.
I love that. And you mentioned something there too, reaching out to people to bring value, even if you're not selling them something. And someone in the comments that I think is just unbelievably, fantastic with that, Antarctic Mike.
Yep.
Antarctic Mike, he is so good he's done a lot of different things. He travels a lot. He speaks a lot. He's already met a ton of people, and he still reaches out. He gets interested in people's stories, and that's how he finds new things to talk about and new people to meet. And I just think that's awesome. But I know you've met him as well.
Yeah, I experienced that recently, and can't wait to continue to build and develop that, and honestly, understand his mindset and his thought process of how he helps people, what he gets to do. I would bet that Antarctic Mike very rarely thinks I have to do something. I would almost say 95% of the time he gets to do something.
Absolutely. And it's genuine, right? So when you're doing it because you get to do something, like you say, that little shift, it changes the energy of the action. And so
It
it
does.
lands better for everybody.
Mhm,
It
it
doesn't
does.
feel forced. So great to see Mike this morning. If you see him on his YouTube picture, he's training for his Antarctic marathon run. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. Ran a marathon in Antarctica. Not too bad, huh?
Yeah. That's up there.
Hey, George. Good morning, George. Great to see you. Let's get the bus rolling on this holiday weekend. Vicky Watts, get her done. Make it a great, if it's going to be a good day, it starts with me.
Great point. Great point.
Absolutely. If you're going to have a great day, it starts with me, and it starts with getting your mind right, which is what we do here. And I want to ask you about something.
Mhm.
You asked me, and now I'm going to ask you. When you think about the human being game, you're playing golf today, and golf's an awful hard sport, and sometimes the human being game can be an awful hard game sport to play. But I'd love to get your thoughts on what the human game is, or what the human being game is. What would the average dude mean when he starts talking about the human being game? What do you think?
That's a great question. I would relate it to, so something about me. I relate a lot to sports. I'm a big sports guy. I understand sports, and I think sales and business development in sports are very, very similar.
I
And
agree.
so for me, I started playing golf backwards. I play the hole backwards, right? So I can assume I'm gonna two putt, right? So then I work back from there, and I know, hey, instead of getting there in 4 or 5, I'm playing it with knowing the math backwards, and I know I need to land it somewhere in here, somewhere in here. But if it doesn't land there, it doesn't mean the hole's over, because I'm playing backwards. And so I think the human game playing backwards as well. It's, hey, understand what the other human being is looking for. What are they looking for in the relationships that they have? And if it's with you, play that backwards, and instead of focused on what to do, focus on what not to do. And to me, that's playing it backwards. And what I'm not going to do is make it about a sales pitch. I'm not going to make it about a product sale. I'm not going to make it about a commission. I'm not going to make it about a bonus. I'm not going to make it about that. What I'm going to make about is when we're on the green and I want you to have success, what does that look like? And so when you start to play that backwards, and you play the human game backwards, and you start with the end in mind, and when the end is what's in it for them, to me, that makes a big difference. I hope that makes sense with working it backwards.
Makes sense. And you said a lot, and it really fired up my mind there. In order for you to kind of work backwards with your golf, you have to know your own game,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So the human being game starts with knowing ourselves. We have to
Mhm.
know our own skills. We have to know what we bring to the table. We have to know what we want. We have to
Mhm.
know what kind of day we want. We want to have to know what kind of interaction we are looking for, or what we're trying to do. And so when I talk about the human being game, I'm talking about the skills that you're talking about right there. It's these social skills. The last thing that the bots are going to take is the ability to be a human being.
Yep.
And human beings sign the checks, they shake the hands, they do all the things that need to be done, including working on HVAC units and fixing equipment and things like that. But at the end of the day, the human being game and those types of skills that Aaron just said, that's a social skill. Not going in with our own thoughts, but really listening to the customer, working backwards from that, and finding a way in so that we can get that proximity and have a great conversation. What's on your mind, Aaron? I see those wheels turning.
So I don't know if Paul Pappy's on, but
Yeah,
I would love it if he was, and he made a comment. We had this conversation in a tournament not too long ago about in golf, you're going to have misses, you're going to have bad swings, you're not going to perform at a high level all the time. But it's, where are you missing? It's strategic misses that says, hey, if I'm trying to hit this ball to the right, but it goes straight, is that a good miss? Am I setting myself up to at least have a chance on the hole? And to me, with the human game, it's the same thing. be strategic about your misses. And if you're going to have a miss with a connection, or a relationship isn't going to go as well as you had hoped, or there's not, the intentionality that you had with that, but make it a good miss, and miss with what's in it for them. So if I miss on a relationship, but I can provide them with some referrals or some key contacts, even if I don't get that back, to me, that's a good miss. And that goes back to playing the whole backwards, instead of going at it with, well, who do you know? What can you give me? That type of thing.
I love it. Let's see what Vicky Watt says here in the comments. Thanks for the comments. Great to see Vicky there. Ask great questions. Absolutely. Man, if you could only ask questions, if you didn't know anything, but you were a great question asker, man, you might be a great rep. You might be a fantastic rep.
I tell people all the time, the reps who ask the most questions make the most money. And when you think you've asked enough questions, ask one more.
Oh, the Columbo question, right? Remember
Yep.
Columbo? Listen well.
Oh, by the way.
Hey, I can see you doing that really well, Aaron Jacobs. That's ask great questions, listen well, and have great resources to serve the client, not yourself. If you do it the right way and you do it every time money happens, and their longevity is in your business, it's relationship driven. We're all on the same page.
We are.
You were just expressing to me, man, these are partners. You don't want bad things to happen to their equipment. You want them to be using their equipment. You want that equipment to be running fantastically, because you're a business partner, and that's part of the business need. Somebody's going to have to fix it. It might as well be a hero.
Hopefully. I don't want it to break, but if it breaks, we got you.
I love that. I love that. Well, hey, this is not an easy. So this was my first time having a co-host this morning. We've done it for over 460 days in a row. I was thinking about all the different people that I could have sit in that spot, who might want to do it on a Monday, on a holiday. And Freddie, shout out to Freddie Blanton.
Yeah,
let me just say this. Yeah, let's take a sip for Freddie here if you've got one. But yeah, an invisible mug. But no, seriously, working with Freddie and being around someone that kind of makes you uncomfortable, that has great energy, that's doing the thing. The thing I respect about Freddie is he's up there. I see him doing all the things that he's talking about. So I know he's not just talk. He's doing the things.
He is. I love that he started posting the videos of the machines actually working. Like I don't know how to move Earth, but it makes me want to.
Exactly. Yeah, putting your hands in the dirt. But I have to tell the story here before we close out. The reason that I ended up calling you, of course, you've been on First Sip, you've been on the bus, you've been participating. But then when I needed someone, that one time, I'll never forget it, when I met you and I asked, hey, does anybody have a question? You actually asked me to talk to folks about stepping up. Maybe it's not, talk to people about stepping up when the opportunity arises, Aaron.
Well, when you think about it, my only intention with that is I've been in that spot before, when you have 50 people staring at you. You're hit or miss with the energy you're getting back, and it's tough, right? And I've been there. And so for me, it was, what can I do? I don't know who the average dude is. I signed up for this because I want to get to know who the average dude is, but somebody needs to help this guy and kind of lead some of this conversation. And so it goes back to the same thing. I'm on the tee box now on First Sip, but I played the human game backwards because I focused on being on the green and what could I do to help this average dude guy have hopefully the best IFMA luncheon conversation that we can. And here's the thing. If this never would have happened, it's fine. However, we had proximity, we have a relationship, you now trust me. And so and now I have an opportunity to be on the First Sip because of exactly what I just said, right? I mean, if it would have not gone any further, I had just as much satisfaction and joy that you felt that you got an assist from the crowd above and beyond anything else.
And that's the beautiful, thank you for that. That I think that's when the natural thing happens, right? We get proximity to people. We find out, is there synergy here? Is there a collaborative spirit? And are we like-minded enough where there's a nice yin and yang, a kind of team that we can create, right?
Mhm,
And that's
mhm,
what we do with all relationships. And so it is important
mhm,
if we can get into that person's office and spend time with them and tour the facility or learn about their business,
mhm,
we learn if it's a fit in an
mhm.
energetic kind of way. And
Yeah,
so I think that it's all connected, isn't it?
it is. Do we have 30 seconds for one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're rolling. We're rolling. We got to
So,
get that.
so I'm gonna tell a little secret here. I'm gonna be very, very vulnerable for a moment. Okay.
Please, I love it.
I didn't always play the human game backwards. And I would say probably 7, 8, 10 years ago, you would not have wanted to have me on this show. I am not the same person that I was. I did not have this a professional servant's heart. I did not have the with them, the what's in it for them. I had a lot of what's in it for me. And through some personal development, as you talked about, through some things not working, and through some relationships that I was able to have and develop in my life, that changed, and it's been a game changer. It's been a world of difference. So I don't want anybody on here to think that I was born, did sales and whatever, and I've always had the best intentions in mind and everything. I mean, nothing detrimental to people, but I was young and inexperienced, and was making good money, and all this kind of stuff. And so, but to know that I have other people's good days in mind before I have my good day in mind really makes a difference. So I did want to say, to tell everybody that, and be vulnerable and say, Aaron Jacobitz isn't the same Aaron Jacobitz today that I was back then.
Now let me ask you this. Is it more satisfying on a human level? Is it more satisfaction or is it more success? Because I think there might be a difference. You were successful
Mhm,
being a little more aggressive, a little more assertive, right?
mhm.
That's what
Yep.
I'm hearing.
Yep.
But is there a change there in the way in which that success feels? Or because I think a lot of folks, excuse
Yeah.
me, are in the same type situation. Is there a change in the way that it feels, or how does that work?
Yeah. When I had an opportunity to start developing people, and I started overseeing and managing other people's success, is really when it changed. And what I realized is I like to sell, I like to business develop, I like to do marketing, I like to do all that. But the only thing that excites me and makes me be personally more satisfied, more than even a big close or signing a big deal or whatever the case is seeing other people have success, and people who, oh man, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not a relationship person, I'm not this. And you see them come into that and have that success. And so, to me, that's where the satisfaction comes in, which, when you start developing people, you automatically have more of a what's in it for them type of mindset. And then that transitioned into my personal production, from my personal relationship management, and customer relationship management, and things like that. So I think it was really digging into developing people is where that big change was.
Absolutely. And I can see that you're good at it. I've already noticed that you're good at spotting talent, you're good at building talent. And maybe that's something that we can talk about tomorrow, Aaron Jacobitz, because I think that's a big deal, knowing what good talent looks like as a manager and being able to cultivate that talent and put them in the right position.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that you guys are doing a great job of. So, hey, what do you think of our first day? This is one of 465. What do you think, Aaron?
No, I think it's wonderful. I mean, how humbling of an experience to be asked to be on the first sip, and be in this box where Freddie is, and
Yeah.
just the opportunity to talk with you, and be able to have conversation. I I tell you what, I could go out and shoot 100 this morning, and it doesn't matter, because my mind is right. The bus is rolling. I am fired up, and I cannot wait. I think I'm in a group with two people I don't know. Daniel, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they have any idea what's coming. They're gonna have a relationship with me at least for 18 holes, brother, because we are ready to go.
Now that's what it's all about. It's getting that kind of energy. Go out, have a great round, Aaron. We'll likely see you tomorrow, and more details to come on what is to come on First Sip this week. It's going to be a good one.
Have a great day. Bye.
See you, buddy. Bye. Let's roll.